At CES today, Samsung announced the Galaxy Note 10 Lite and the Galaxy S10 Lite, which is really interesting, less so for the S10 Lite because we have the S10e, but more so because of the Note 10 Lite, because that makes the S Pen available on a much cheaper device. They made some really strange decisions though. For example, the first one I want to bring up is the 2019 S10 still had a headphone jack, but Samsung took it out on the Note 10. Now with these two devices, it looks like the Note 10 Lite got given the headphone jack back and the S10 Lite had it taken away. But moving on, both screens are identical at 6.7 inches, Super AMOLED panels with a low resolution of 1080 by 2400 and a pixel density of 394 ppi. The Note 10 Lite's are slightly bigger dimensions with a lower screen to body ratio than its flagship counterpart at 86% compared to 91%. The S10 Lite is about the same with the 88% screen to body ratio. Both have an under display fingerprint sensor, but the screens are slightly downgraded from the flagship counterparts with just HDR and not HDR10 Plus like the Note 10 had. Both screens are flat and not curved. Some people might be okay with that. The S10 Lite now has a center hole punch compared to last year's top right hand corner's hole punch. The camera is where it gets really crazy though. The S10 Lite and Note 10 Lite both have a 12 megapixel ultra wide compared to last year's flagship counterparts, which both had 16 megapixel ultra wides, and they both have a 32 megapixel selfie camera up front compared to last year's flagship counterparts, which had 10 megapixels. Now, these camera modules are different from last year's, but also different from one another. The S10 Lite has a 48 megapixel wide angle lens with super optical image stabilization, compared to the Note 10 Lite, which only has a 12 megapixel wide angle with normal optical image stabilization. Then, regarding the third camera on the back, the S10 Lite and the Note 10 Lite went different directions. The S10 Lite has a macro 5 megapixel camera for close-ups as the third shooter, whereas the Note 10 Lite has a 12 megapixel telephoto for zooming in. The benefit with these devices is that in the S10 Lite's case, you're going to get a much bigger screen than you did in the other budget S10, the S10e, and in the Note 10 Lite, you're going to get an S Pen for a much cheaper price than the flagship Note 10 from last year. Expect the price to be between the $600 to $700 US mark compared to the flagship's price of around about $1,000. Samsung also announced the next Unpacked event, which will be on the 11th of February 2020, which is just over a month away. We can expect to see the Galaxy S11, or some people are calling it the S20 based on certain rumors, and also the foldable clamshell phone that we've all been waiting for. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so that you can get notified as soon as I upload any new content. Cheers.